So we're up and running, and this is the best time to book. And it's complicated to pick out your Alaska land and sea vacation. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit easier. So here's our agenda tonight. Why Princess to Alaska? Because there are other cruises up there. I'm going to talk specifically about the land and sea options. I'm going to show you a little bit about the Princess-owned lodges. I'm going to talk about the benefits of booking with AAA. And then I'm going to give you a booking bonus at the end. Princess is #1 in Alaska, and we have been #1 for the last 14 straight years. We put the land and sea vacations together for you, so everything is very, very seamless. If you're thinking of land and sea, the cruise would be 7 days. And then you'll see in the bottom right-hand side, we have our rail cars. So land and sea would include the seven-night cruise. It would include the transportation on the land, which would be the motor coach and the train. So one of the things to do, because it is so complicated, you want to start eliminating some of the choices. If you're going to do land and sea, these are 2 choices that you are not able to do the land with. We offer 2 7-night cruises that are round trip Seattle, and we offer one that's a 10-night round trip San Francisco. Now, those are great options, but you are not able to do the land with them. The land would be one-way journeys, and they would be from Vancouver or end in Vancouver, and then ending in that's the port of Whittier, which we would use the airport of Anchorage for. It's right outside of the city of Anchorage. So the one-way journeys start or end Vancouver to Whittier. Here's a map of Alaska, which may be able to help you a little bit. So flying from Buffalo, Rochester, or Syracuse, if we were going to be doing the cruise first, AAA would be booking your air, and they'd be putting you right into Vancouver. You might want to consider going a night before. Even though it's summertime, there's all kinds of delays that can happen with the airlines. So it's always a great idea to go one night pre-cruise. So we'd leave on the 7-night journey, go through the Inside Passage up to Ketchikan. Then the next day, go up to Juneau, then Skagway. All of these one-way itineraries, or what we call the Voyage of the Glacier Cruise, will stop in Glacier Bay National Park. It'll go into the park for the day. Then with Princess, you have a second glacier viewing day on that 7-day journey. So it could be either Hubbard Glacier or College Fjord. And Princess uses the port of Whittier. That's where we dock the ship. And you'll notice it looks like it's a little zipper right there, the zipper line. That represents the Alaskan Railroad. Now, there's many other cruise line choices up in Alaska, but the other cruise lines use Seward. They cannot get into Whittier because it's owned and operated by Princess. So they use Seward, they dock in Seward. Well, Seward, to get to the train in Anchorage, is 110 miles or 4 hours on Alaskan roads. And Princess has a strong advantage right there because Whittier is already on the rail system. So let's take a look at where our lodges are. If you go to the north, go very north, and you'll see the red stars. And right there we have at Denali, we have the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, and that's 15 minutes away from Denali National Park. At the south side of the park, we've got the Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. And then we've got 2 lodges that we call Off the Beaten Path down on the Kenai Peninsula, or the purple box right down there is the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge. And in that pink box, it's the Copper River Princess Wilderness Lodge right at the gates of Wrangell St. Elias National Park. So the cruise is always 7 days, and the land is where it gets very confusing for folks because there's so many choices. and the land can be as few as 3 nights or 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8 nights on the land. So one of the key question that when you sit down with your AAA advisor, they're going to ask you is, how long can you be gone? And that will assist them in showing you which tours out of the 26 options that will match up with your time frame. So many people will ask me, is it best to fly in and do the land first, which would mean flying into Fairbanks or flying into Anchorage. If you're going to do land, it would be one of those options, doing the land first and then boarding the ship in Whittier and then disembarking in Vancouver. Or the other way, which is the ship first and land after. Many people gravitate towards doing, especially from the Northeast and the Southeast, they gravitate towards doing the land first before the cruise, because to get that long flight out of the way. Princess has a fabulous air program, and air can be added to your booking at 330 days from the date of the return. Now imagine being able to book an airline ticket and not pay for it. Princess is the only line that allows you to put the air into your booking, and you do not pay for it until final payment. Final payment is due to Princess at 75 days before departure. Now, this is a slide of the inside passage, and I show this to show the people that have not cruised yet how close we are to the land in the inside passage. In fact, over 50% of our passengers who cruise with us in Alaska will be first-time cruisers. And it's after they've done their research and seen how easy it is to cruise in Alaska. And it's impossible to get to some of the cities unless you do cruise. Here's the ports of call. Juneau is Alaska's capital. Skagway is where it has all the gold rush era charm. And Ketchikan is the salmon capital. Here's the capital, Juneau. And you'll notice that it's all nestled in, but with the mountain range behind it. Imagine living in the state capital and you cannot drive out of the capital. You can only get out by air or water. Come in and out through air or water. Here's the Mendenhall Glacier that's right on the outskirts of Juneau, and there will be so many different optional shore excursions for you to choose from. And the AAA agent would be able to assist you with making choices. Here's the little town of Skagway, one of my favorites. Year-round residents, only 800, but comes alive in the summertime, all connected by this little boardwalk. This is where the miners went so many years ago to purchase their supplies to go up the Chinook Trail. And this is the beautiful scenery, right minutes outside of Skagway. Here's Ketchikan, and this little area here is called Creek Street, and it's the old red light district with brothels and saloons, and it's just a quick 5-block walk from where we dock our ship. And you can kayak by it, you can enjoy the views, you can cross the street. There's a lumberjack show right across. And this is Glacier Bay National Park. The state of Alaska only allows 2 ships per day into Glacier Bay National Park. It's by permit only, and Princess has the permits to get into Glacier Bay. 1 ship at a time is allowed into the port, into Glacier Bay. And this is how close we do get to the glaciers. Right at the entrance, the park rangers board our ship, and the 2 park rangers will be with us the entire time as we are up in the park. They'll be up on the deck with microphone, so you'll be able to hear them, and they're telling you about what you're seeing as you're seeing it live. This is the second glacier day. This is Hubbard Glacier, and such dramatic scenery. Or your other option would be College Fjord, which is home to 16 of the Ivy League glaciers. Princess brings more of Alaska on board our ships with our North to Alaska program. If you have booked a fishing charter, and you will catch something during the season, if you've caught a fish, we will bring it back to the ship. It'll be prepared for you in our galley, and then it'll be served to you in the dining room that evening. The program is called Cook My Catch. We've got onboard naturalists. That's the woman down there in the corner in the yellow. We've got 2 onboard naturalists, and they will be doing presentations during the week. And the woman in the right-hand corner, that is Libby Riddles. And Libby is the first woman that won the Alaskan Iditarod. And she comes on board every one of our ships in Juneau. And she does a presentation late in the afternoon in Juneau on the Iditarod. And she brings her a few dogs. We've got the park rangers in Glacier Bay. And these are our puppies. The puppies come on board in Skagway, and this is called Puppies in the Piazza. And the piazza is our main lobby on board the ship. And the puppies are all corralled, and you're able to learn how they are taught, what they eat, how they prepare for the Iditarod. We signed with both Animal Planet and Discovery. So they have brought different programs on board our ship. And whenever you see their logos next to any of the activities or any of the shore excursions, you'll know that it was created or endorsed by these 2 famous brands. This, folks, is a picture of Whittier. This is our ship all nestled into that cove. There's only room for 1 ship. And I'll give you a minute just to find the top of that Ultra Dome rail car. And that's how close the rail is to the ship. So if we were getting off the ship and doing the land, we would be assigned to a rail car. You can see they've got A, B, and so on. We'd be assigned to a rail car. And then once everyone's boarded, we would be off on our way. To go from Whittier to Denali, it takes about 8 to 9 hours on the train. There's a closer shot of the train, so you can see that we've got an outdoor platform, and that gives you a clear view of the Ultra Dome car upstairs. There we are leaving Whittier. Here's the upstairs of the train. And you'll notice there's no overhead space, so that your luggage is trucked separately to your next call, your next stop. Your luggage has to fit underneath the seat that day for the 8 to 9 hours it takes to get to Denali. Downstairs, there's a full galley, a dining car area where everything is freshly prepared, no box lunches. And I'm going to be showing you the lodges now, and you'll see a lot of similarities in the lodges. All of the Princess lodges are right by riverbanks. There's multiple choices to dine, beautiful interior fireplaces, outdoor fire pits, but indoor dining, outdoor dining. Everyone that stays here would have a tour into Denali National Park. It's called the Natural History Tour. And that's 4.5-hour tour into the park. Or there is another option, and that's the Tundra Tour. And that's a longer tour into the park. It goes much farther, and that is called the Tundra Tour. Anyone that stays at Denali and is at Denali for 2 nights would be able to book the Tundra Tour for a slight upgrade fee. I think it's $67 this year per person to upgrade. If you're at Denali for 1 night, it's not possible to take the Tundra Tour. Now, some of our tours, our land and sea packages, have the Tundra Tour built in, but if you don't see it, just know that it is limited by the Park Service, and the AAA agent can make that change for you. Here's the Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge, And this lodge is only 41 miles away from the base of Mount McKinley. That's as close as you can possibly get, and the scenery is just spectacular there. If you do watch Animal Planet, you may have seen the show called Treehouse Masters, and the Treehouse Masters have built a treehouse at our Mount McKinley property. Here's the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge on the Kenai Peninsula. A very small lodge, only 86 rooms here. Again, situated by riverbanks. But this lodge is unique in that each room has the fireplace with the wood-burning fireplace, a screened-in porch, and the separate bedroom area. And that's the view from the on the Kenai Peninsula. The Copper River Princess Wilderness Lodge is right at the gates of Wrangell St. Elias National Park, which is home to 9 out of the 16 highest peaks in the United States. And this lodge is very close to the Kennecott Historical Mines, in case you wanted to take that as a day trip. And that's the view off the back deck at Copper River. AAA has their own tours with us, land and sea packages. They are AAA Tour 14, which goes north or south, or AAA 15, also going north or south. Tour 14 has 4 nights on the land, which would mean 2 nights at Denali, 1 night at McKinley, 1 night in Anchorage. Now, we don't own our own property in Anchorage. We use the Captain Cook Hotel, which is right in central downtown Anchorage. It includes 2 breakfasts and 2 dinners on the land portion. Tour 15 is 5 nights on the land, 2 nights at McKinley, 2 nights at Denali, 1 night in Fairbanks, and it also has 3 breakfasts and 2 dinners built in. Anytime you book a Princess Cruise, any Princess Cruise through AAA, we have some AAA benefits for you. We have on a 7-night cruise, booking through AAA, we would have $50 per cabin onboard spending money. We'd also have specialty dining on the days the ship is in port, and that could be at either one of our 2 specialty choice restaurants. The value is $29 per person. And you would also have preferred check-in when you are checking in on embarkation. That has a value of $108 per cabin. Now this chart, if you take a look, let's take it from the top, look at those temperatures. Those are average, what used to be average temperatures up there. But I do need to tell you that this past, in May of 2019 at Denali, it was warmer in Denali than it was in Syracuse. They hit in the 70s, and it's not unheard of that you can have 70s in late May. June and July, of course, is peak season, and till the second week of August is also peak. But less rainfall in May and June. And if you follow that chart over, you'll see the little leaf. The leaf it represents their fall foliage that will change sooner than ours. And you'll have these beautiful colors reflected in the inside passage, the orange and the yellows, as you're cruising through on that water. Whale spotting all season long. We've got a whale spotter up on the bridge deck, and if a whale is seen or multiple whales are seen, then the officer in charge will make an announcement so you'll be able to see it. The clock is there on the next line because late June and July, that is when we have the most daylight. We will have 20 to 22 hours of daylight there. And in September, when there is less daylight, it's a chance of seeing the northern lights, but of course you need less daylight. So I recommend, if you're looking for the northern lights, that you would go northbound on that itinerary, on any of the itineraries, because as you traveled north, you would have less and less daylight. Animals, the bears right there. The bears represent that. They are hungry in May and June. many of them have been hibernating. They're very active then, and it's easier to spot them because we haven't had the 20 or 22 hours of daylight to make the greenery so thick and lush. So that's a great time to go to see that. It's the wildlife. Fishing will be all summer, all season long, whether it be salmon or halibut, with peak being June and July. Off-peak pricing would be May and September. Peak pricing would be mid-June through the end of June, all of July, and the first 2 weeks of August. And of course, then families will be once school is let out. If you've served in the military, Princess would like to thank you for your service. And any time that you sail on a Princess cruise, we would like to give you onboard spending money as our thank you. On a 7-night cruise, we have $100 for you to spend. You'll need to bring a copy of your DD-214 into your AAA agent, and you'll only need to do that once.